Honesty, passion, experience. It's Timberwolves Explosion, hosted on the sportstuff.com. And now, your host, Paladino Joey. Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Timberwolves Explosion is available on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Double Twist. Thank you once again for joining me today. A very solid outcome for the Timberwolves this past week. Better than some of us may have expected. Finally took care of those damn Suns. Finally gave Devin Booker a little piece of a little taste of his medicine, I guess, right? But I liked it though. Anyway, Minnesota 3-1 this past week. Now that's what I'm talking about. If you want to make the playoffs, well, you got to go 3-1 this past week and stuff, and keep doing stuff like that. That would be great. Just stuff, you know. Well, as long as they keep doing it, then we got a shot here. We got a crack at it, and I'm happy to see it happening. The Los Angeles Lakers still suffering without LeBron James. They're going to have a tough time making the playoffs, maybe, but once he comes back, we'll make it. Timberwolves, well, we'll see. Got to beat the Clippers, I suppose. It's not the Oklahoma City Thunder anymore. I don't think we're going to catch up to them anytime soon. Clippers, sure. Timberwolves can catch the Clippers if they really want to. And you got a team you're going to be competing with for that playoff berth, possibly. The Utah Jazz, the back-to-back coming up here. Starting tonight at Utah, or at Salt Lake City, or whatever. Yeah, it's in Utah. And on Sunday, Utah Jazz come to Target Center, and 2 days later, on Thursday the 30th, Mr. Henry McCoy. No, I'm kidding. Mr. Wayne Hunt's club, the Memphis Grizzlies, also visit Target Center. So 3 games to preview, 4 games to review. And the only loss is this gosh darn same old story frickin' Spurs game where LaMarcus Aldridge, I can't stand him. I don't know how he does as well as he does against us every single time. Yes, he's a good player, but he's not that good. He's really not. For all of you that think he's this super great player, no, he's not. Taj Gibson played well in the game, but other than that, it's just the same old story. There was no Mr. DeMar DeRozan in the game. There was no Quincy Pondexter either. No, okay, who cares, right? But no, there was no DeMar DeRozan to light us up. So Rudy Gay ends up kind of lighting us up. 9 of 14 from the floor, 22 points. LaMarcus Aldridge, he didn't even play particularly well, but when it mattered, he got around guys that he needed to get around. Taj Gibson, Karl Anthony Towns, and Gorgui Dieng. It just drove us crazy. 25 points, 9 rebounds. The guy is incapable of getting double-digit rebounds. Though sometimes he does. Okay, he's had a 20-rebound game in his past, but yeah, that's like few and far between. Overall, yes, Karl Anthony Towns had a decent game, but he only got 6 rebounds. I mean, gosh, he's doing his best LaMarcus Aldridge imitation without beating LaMarcus Aldridge, unfortunately. Dario Saric just lifeless out there on the offensive end, but at least scored a few points. Or, excuse me, at least got some rebounds and all that. Derrick Rose got his usual, too many shots. Won about 23 points on 16 shots because he got to the line and made all 11 of them. So good for him there for being aggressive. You got to love Derrick Rose's aggressiveness. His shot selection continues to bother me, but what am I going to do about it? Just sit and stew, cursing at the TV, I guess, on occasion. His goofy, wacky shot selection saved our bacon against Phoenix, but I don't know. Was it luck or was it a good shot? I don't know, but it went in. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. This game, I don't have all that much else to say other than, the Spurs just simply outplayed the Timberwolves. They shot well. Every single time we play the Spurs, their field goal percentage is through the roof. Timberwolves were only 7 of 26 from downtown, though. Again, 26 attempts. That's good. The attempts are up, which is, I know, we all love three-pointers so much that it's all that's left in the league. But it's okay, and I understand it's part of the game, and it's, it's not going away, that type of thing. 44% isn't the worst thing ever. 113 points against the Spurs you'd think is okay. But a lot of their plays were just too easy. 46% from downtown. They basically made half of their threes. And then they did make half of their shots overall from the floor. 41 of 82. It was just too easy time and time again. And I don't know, it drove me crazy. Even though LaMarcus Aldridge, again, didn't even have that high of a shooting game, but he seemed to have his way when he needed to. Marco Bellinelli, same thing. He didn't shoot particularly well, but he made the threes he needed to. And this guy named Davis Bertans made, just about everything. And it was very effective. Wound up with 11 very important points. that kept the Spurs rolling in the game. Patty Mills becoming more of a playmaker in this game because his shot was way off. Just wasn't on his game in this particular day. But I don't know. Again, I don't have a whole lot else to say. Nice to see Karl Anthony Towns get his 23, but not a good Karl Anthony Towns game either. 23 points and 17 attempts to get there. But he did make all of his free throws. So again, to the Wolves' credit, awesome free throw, awesome night getting 84% from the line and 38 attempts. That's great. The Wolves got to the line. They didn't play that poor of a game, obviously. Only 116, 113, but it's just, again, it felt like the same old story where the Spurs shot the ball and it went in, as Mr. Greg Popovich would say. Or we shot the ball and it didn't go in. That's the other side when the Spurs don't win. That's usually when he, is very articulate in his in-game interviews because he loves in-game interviews. Just loves them. So again, the Spurs Spurs beat the Timberwolves in the Target Center. Not the worst game you ever saw, but again, it just had that vibe of the same old crap. And this is coming off a loss to those Philadelphia 76ers. That was very memorable. Very memorable. I don't think we'll ever forget that one. Sunday the 20th, as the New England Patriots were on their way of getting back to the Super Bowl again, and the Los Angeles Rams made their first Super Bowl since 1989. As the LA Rams, as the St. Louis Rams as a franchise, their first Super Bowl since 2001. But the '89 Rams, they did not get to the Super Bowl. They got to the They got to the freaking NFC Championship and lost to the 49ers. Pardon me. And then the last Rams Super Bowl was 1980, Los Angeles Rams 79-80, where they got beat by the freaking Steelers. Yuck. But let's move on. Welcome to Purple Mafia, right? That show's taking a week off. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. Minnesota Vikings podcast, heavy NFL playoff conversation, including, that one play that everybody's talking about, the Saints and all that. So we'll leave that alone. Minnesota wins over the Phoenix Suns, but what an annoying game. Like, it seemed like the whole game the Wolves are going to find a way to lose this one. Every time you take a lead, Phoenix is up by 9, 8 points again, and it's just back and forth. No DeAndre Ayton, really. DeAndre Ayton's out and all that. And he was out again in Phoenix. No Troy Daniels this time around. Remember, he hit he hit a couple shots to help beat us. Jamal Crawford, very solid off the bench. Nice to see him come back to Target Center and all that. Devin Booker, there was no big, there was no dust up with Gorgie Zhang in this game, but still, nice to see Dragan Bender getting some action at the very least. The poor guy got just completely buried. Remember, I talked about that on the last show. Completely buried, as he was looked on as to be a pretty good player, and then completely buried behind DeAndre Ayton. As now I've said that about 50 times. Michael Bridges, who'd been a thorn in our side in the past, did absolutely nothing in this game. I mean, he made one shot, one three-pointer in 29 minutes, and that's it. He didn't do anything else, though. I guess he got a couple steals, mostly because of poor play, poor ball control by the Wolves. Lots of turnovers on both sides in this game. Minnesota 15, Phoenix had 100. No, I'm kidding. Phoenix actually had the 15. Minnesota also 15. Okay, sounds good to me. Again, I like that the rotation is more open. I can't imagine how Gorgie Zhang felt about this, though. Jared Bayless getting significant minutes, by the way, and for obvious reasons, because when there's no Tyus Jones, Jared Bayless. And I thought he's been pretty good since he's gotten some significant action the past several games here now since Philadelphia. About 20 minutes, 25 minutes a game. Luol Deng gets a little burn. But when Luol Deng is getting more playing time than Gorgie Zhang, and yeah, it's just a minute more. Luol, 4 minutes, Gorgie 3.5. Wow, I feel bad for Gorgie, I really do. And during that time, he was just a -9 and got 2 personal fouls. I don't know. I guess Ryan thought he was a bit off on that night and kind of not on his game and all that. Josh Okogie also very limited in the game, minutes-wise. But that's because Derrick Rose was absolutely on fire. And this game right here is why the title of this episode will be called The Reciprocals. Because Karl Anthony Towns had 28 points in the first half, 2 points in the second. Derrick Rose had 2 points in the first half, 29 points in the second. So there's your reciprocal. It's not exact. It's not exact because Rose was 1 point difference, but it's close enough to be considered a reciprocal, which is a reciprocal in the mathematic terms would be like, let's say 20 let's say 32 and now 23. That's a reciprocal. Get it? It's just switched around. So pretty wild stuff. Both players shot the ball a little bit too much, but then again, Derrick Rose was on fire in that second half. Karl Anthony Towns, 8 of 22, but he made all 13 of his free throws. That is freaking awesome, and we needed every damn one of them because this game came down to the final shot of the game. Luckily, after the Wolves had been scorched, period after period, 31 in the first, 36 in the second. That is garbage. The Phoenix Suns scoring 36 points in a quarter in our house. You know, as good as they are at times, there's talented players. It's the NBA. They all deserve to be here, blah, blah, blah. 36 points in the worst against the worst team in the Western Conference who had not won a single road game in the Western Conference all season. Please, guys, don't be the first team to lose to them at home. Please don't be the first Western Conference team to lose to the Phoenix Suns at home. It's just, now's not the time. You know, I mean, this franchise, after what we've been through in that annoying, loss to the Spurs, a very winnable game, getting demolished by the Philadelphia 76ers. Please don't do it. Just don't do it. Karl Anthony Towns, again, hotter than hell in the first half, colder than Antarctica in the second. I mean, he couldn't do crap in the second half. Unbelievable. I mean, I thought he was going to get 50 points again, and everybody did. Everybody thought Karl was going to have another one of those 50-point games. Remember, he scored 56 points last year in a game against the vaunted Phoenix Suns. Vaunted, right? But he did. He got 56 points, franchise record. And, yeah, well, he wound up with 30. He got 30. Great numbers, but second half, not so much. Derrick Rose made half of his shots, including missing all of his threes. Unfortunately, that statistic has been dropping, and very quickly. Rapido. It's been dropping rapido during the course of this season. His three-point percentage has been, it's been falling down the face of the earth. Timberwolves attempted 24 shots in the game, but not a soul in this game made 2 threes. Not one. Derrick Rose made one. Wiggins made one. Towns, Teague, and... Nope, Derrick Rose did not make one. He missed all 4. Bayless, Saric, and Tolliver all made 1 three-pointer at the end of the day. Nobody made it 2, and the Wolves not good from downtown, 25%. But, well, I guess keep them coming. I mean, as long as sooner or later it's going to come around, I hope. Start making something. The Wolves did not shoot particularly well in this game, 43%. And that's why the Suns were in this one. They shot better in every category except the free throw line. At least we're dominating at the free throw line in multiple games here. We're in the 80% and they're in the 60s, so we'll take that 80 percentile. Taj Gibson extremely efficient in the time he was out there. Loved it. Only missed 1 shot, wound up with 17 points, and just got the job done. Kept the Wolves in it. Thank God. Derrick Rose was definitely the hero, and he was the reason why this team was absolutely hanging around and not going to let this thing go. When Phoenix tied the game up, and it's like, here we go, Derrick Rose has the ball. He's going to take the shot, and it's got Jimmy Butler written all over it. No offense to all of you that might be irritated by me saying that. Where, watch the video on YouTube, those of you that haven't. Jimmy Butler game time / game winning shots for the Timberwolves, where it's sarcastic, obviously, where he would just hog the ball for about 20 seconds. He'd just pound the ball, and then, okay, whoop, and he'd miss, no matter what it was. And I sensed a little bit of that from Derrick Rose a little bit with this team of late because, well, yeah, that's how it was against the San Antonio Spurs. He had the opportunity to possibly tie the game up, and he just forced up a wild shot fadeaways from three-point land, and just, I don't know, it was like about 2 feet short. Like, come on, that's not a good shot. I mean, I don't know, if you're just messing around at the playground, even there it's like, great. And I've been guilty of that crap too, but I don't know. But this one was good. This one was another where he was pounding the ball, and took a long 2-point shot, going backwards, literally fading away, without it looking like a fadeaway. But it was a fadeaway because it had to be a fadeaway to avoid getting blocked. And this one did go in, and it was beautiful, and it was awesome. And yes, I do believe Derrick Rose does deserve to be an all-star. I do believe his ball handling is insanely good. I do believe he still has a lot of the skills that made him the great player he was with the Chicago Bulls. I do believe his shot selection is, sometimes it's good, and he makes some freaking awesome plays when he's attacking that basket. I love when he attacks the basket. I don't necessarily love, though, the dribble kind of crossover and fadeaway shots. Those get kind of old real quick. It's got a little J.J. Barea, a little hero ball going on. Luckily, though, he's not an asshole. That's the good part. He's not even close to an asshole. Like, he's like an angel compared to Jimmy Butthead, who is on the, 76ers right now, obviously. Thankfully, he's not here. So at least he's not ruining the chemistry of the team. At least he's not pissing off guys in the locker room. I'm sure a lot of them are kind of standing and watching like, look at him go, yes. But I think that this isolation stuff needs to stop a little bit. I don't know. I think it does, but in this game, Derrick Rose deserved all the credit and all the honor and all the respect in this game. He did awesome, and I give him a whole lot of credit. 29 points. He willed this team to victory, and thank you very much, Derrick Rose. I love it, but again, some of those crazy fadeaway shots are, I don't know, man. I don't know. Not my top thought. Let's just say it's not my top choice, but if it went in, and I'm glad it did. Thank you. 22nd, Tuesday the 22nd, Minnesota heads to the Valley of the Sun, which I'm sure a lot of people in the Twin Cities right now would love to do. I'm sure they would love to go to the Valley of the Sun right now because it's, what's the temperature at this millisecond? It is not visible. -6 here in Golden Valley, Minnesota at about 9:30 in the morning. -6, not counting the wind. I do not hate winter, but this is a bit below my threshold. I do not hate winter. It's actually freaking beautiful outside. Nice little, I used to call them patchy clouds. They look like scalloped potatoes. I love when that's what happens in the winter. You get those scalloped potato shaped clouds. Some of you might know what I'm talking about. At the end of the day, their term is altocumulus clouds. I'm sure you're fascinated hearing me talk about that right now. But yeah, I'm sure you'd love to be in the Valley of the Sun. Point made. Karl Anthony Towns, what a game, eh? What a game. There was no reciprocal in this one, other than Wiggins shooting more shots than points scored. Kind of, I don't know. Bayless, same thing. 16. Does everybody on this team, when they get a little bit happy with themselves with how they're playing, I mean, do they all have to do this crap? Wiggins did not exactly have a great game or anything. Let's just be honest. He did not. Still wound up with 17, and he did get his 9 rebounds. So I do appreciate what he was able to accomplish there. That's good. He was pretty damn good against the Lakers, by the way. But the 9 rebounds, a lot of people appreciate what he brought there. Josh Okogie, what a game. What a game for Josh Okogie. 4 of 7 from downtown. 7 of 11. 21 points. And a absolutely beautiful, gorgeous pass down the court to his main man. Derrick Rose. Perfect pass. I mean, freaking, he looked like, this may be a sore point for some of you out there, but he looked like Patrick Mahomes. This may be a sore topic for some of you that wanted the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Patriots. I'm not included. Patrick Mahomes is a wonderful player, though, and I like his attitude. I like his personality. No cockiness, just confidence. Just confidence, a quiet, calm confidence, no cockiness at all, and he just gets the job done. I love Patrick Mahomes, but I also love Tom Brady. Because he's the same. Tom Brady's the same. I don't sense cockiness. He just gets the job done. So, and he's got 5 Super Bowl rings on his fingers and thumb. But no, Josh Okogie looked like Patrick Mahomes to make a point here. That was the best pass of the year as far as I'm concerned down the court. A beauty. I mean, just the perfect lead. Led Derrick Rose to the hoop for one of his 6 points at the end of the day. It was gorgeous. And I appreciate it so very much. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Nice to see Katie Bates Jop get some action in a blowout game where the Wolves never really trailed in this one. Maybe at the first couple points of the game. But 118-91, Minnesota slaughters Phoenix Suns, and they should have. Things got a bit testy with our buddy Gorgie Zhang. Love him very much, but yeah. And I liked him even more because I'm not a fan of Devin Booker. I think he's just I'm not a fan of him. Let's just leave it as is. No offense. He's a punk. He really is. Obviously, it was inadvertent. Does he really think that Gorgie Zhang was intending to elbow him in the face? Does he really believe that? Or is he just using that as an excuse to let out his frustration because it's a blowout game? Maybe. But the guy's a punk, man. And this showed it, as far as I'm concerned. In a blowout game again, Gorgie Zhang getting the rebound, clearing out like everybody does. You get the ball, you turn, and your elbows happen to be moving when you're turning. It barely grazes the guy. He basically just falls over, dodging it, and acting like Gorgie Zhang did a Ron Artest to James Harden. You know, you'd think that's what happened. Ron Artest, whatever his stupid name is, I don't even care. Meta World Peace. Okay, yes, that's his name. Isn't that a great name? But yeah, it is what it is. But no, he's just clearing out. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. Welcome to the NBA. I mean, people have been doing this since what year? The 50s, maybe? Maybe even further back? It's nothing new. And the guy acts like Gorgie Zhang did a runner test. I'm sorry, but screw you, Devin Booker. That's all I got to say about that. Screw you, Devin Booker. And of course, both of them got ejected, whatever. And then I loved what Gorgie Zhang did when he said, come on, meet me in the tunnel. And then the Phoenix Suns assistant that was hauling him to the locker, hauling Mr. Booker to the locker, had to hang on to his shorts as he's running away. I thought his pants were going to fall down or something. I mean, it's just, I love it. It's just the funniest thing you ever saw. Like, are you for real? Are you for real? It's still playing too right now. It just happened to be lucky to be playing. It's the funniest damn thing you ever saw. Oh, they were talking about it on Tint. That's why. Tint. TNT. Or no, that's NBA TV. My bad. It's basically the same as Tint. That was funny. But nice, comfortable win for the Wolves. A few highlight plays. Derrick Rose, not quite the same game. Who knows? Maybe he was sore. 23 minutes. But Jared Bayless, very strong. But again, 5 of 16 is annoying. But at least he made 4 of 11 from downtown. And it's an opportunity for Jared Bayless to have some fun out there and to enjoy playing basketball. As he is wont to do. 25 points for Karl Anthony Towns. Effortless. 7 assists. 18 rebounds. Beautiful game. And entertainment at its finest, I suppose. Now we'll head to TNT. Los Angeles Lakers. Mr. Karl Anthony Towns always plays well in Los Angeles. Andrew Wiggins usually does. Karl always does. 27-12 and had a nice spin and a slam with authority on about 3 Lakers. I'm sure Vince Germano, not a big fan of that at the moment, but I'm sure he likes Karl Anthony Towns. I love those gold uniforms, by the way. I hate the white ones. I know I'm not alone. Those gold uniforms where you harken back to Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and the early days of Shaq and Kobe. Love them. Just absolutely adore the uniforms where they have that look. It's an old meets new thing, but they look like the classic uniforms much more than anything else. They look more like a classic uniform than some kind of a modern thing. And awesome. Rajon Rondo finally came back. But, it couldn't have come at a better time because Lonzo Ball's out now for an extended period. Much to Vince Germano's chagrin. And mine as well, because this would have been more interesting, I suppose. It was annoying, though, for how long the Lakers were actually kind of like ahead in the game. They weren't ahead by much, but they were ahead by an extended period. Derrick Rose, again, after that Phoenix game, the reciprocal game, has had his minutes limited greatly. I got to think it's his knee. It's hurting, sore knee. Hopefully nothing serious. Let's not even think about. Remember when Jimmy Butler had a sore knee, and next thing you know, he had a torn meniscus. So let's stay away from that, Derrick. If he has to miss a game or two, well, I guess it is what it is. And Jeff Teague, again, missing time with his knee again. Sore knee again to Jeff Teague. So Minnesota at point guard right now is not a pretty sight. It's not. Jared Bayless getting all the minutes. He got 8 assists and 16 points. That's good. And Jared Bayless has been a starter in this league. He can hit the three-point shot, but again, a bit erratic. He is that spark plug off the bench type of guy generally, and he had to be more than a spark plug off the bench. Saric as well. He had an okay game, only 4 points though, and I don't know, only attempted 2 shots in 20 minutes. He's got confidence issues, and he also ended up missing the rest of the game after getting hit in the face by Mr. JaVale McGee, Mr. Shackton the Fool himself. Bloody mouth and all that. Mr. Stars should not return. Hopefully he doesn't have to see a dentist anytime soon after that one. Kind of scary play there. Luol Deng again continuing to get minutes, and a lot of guys getting minutes. And love Ryan Saunders' rotation, so to speak, and just willingness to let players play, so to speak. Jared Terrell, how about this? 10 points off the bench. What a beauty. What a beauty. He got to get 5 shots off, made 4 of them. Good for him. He needed that in that fourth quarter as the Wolves hung on and had some fun there, blowing out the Lakers. Good for Jared Karl. Some nice moments out there. Again, Rose and Teague definitely suffering with the knee injuries. Josh Okogie, not a pretty game. Still won up with 9 points because he got to the free throw line, but 2 of 14. Ouch. Karl extremely efficient again, though, and that beautiful play, the spin move and all that. didn't. It wasn't Dominique like, but again, it was Shaq. It was Shaq like, where you do a bit of a spin and then the power dunk over multiple people. It was nice. Wiggins not efficient again. 23 attempts, 23 points, 23 attempts to get there. Wonderful stat line and everything. 3 assists, 2 steals, 8 rebounds, and again the 23 points. The numbers are good, other than the field goal percentage. And Taj Gibson is Mr. Efficiency all the time. Another double on only 7 attempts in the game. That's awesome. But no, Wiggins had a pretty nice play, though. Again, an example of another missed shot, unfortunately, where he made a bit of a move, put up the shot, missed it. It was a floater in the lane that he was able to kind of Garnett, basically. He did a Garnett type of play where he was able to hustle, grab that rebound, and power that thing in. So that was cool. He reminded me of Kevin Garnett on that play. But, yeah, other than that crappy field goal percentage, though, we'll take this kind of game any day from Andrew Wiggins. This was a joy. This was a joy. But again, no LeBron, no Lonzo Ball. Wolves win by 15 after crushing the Lakers by 13 in that fourth quarter, and overall pounding the Lakers in the second half, majorly, major pounding of the Los Angeles Lakers in the second half. Again, no offense to any of my Laker buddies, but 62-44. That's a pretty good thrashing in the second half. When the first half looked, the game was still very much in doubt after the first half. It could go either direction. But a nice, strong finish at the end of the day for the Timberwolves over the Lakers. Alpha Wolf Award for this week has got to go to Karl Anthony Towns, despite an awesome game by Derrick Rose. Again, the shot selection a bit erratic, but hey, a couple of awesome games to start out the week. And then, unfortunately, the soreness kind of took over for him, unfortunately. And the Wolves are really suffering at point guard. I mean, I don't know. Jared Bayless is your point guard right now for the most part, most of the time. Jeff Teague is continuing to miss time when he'd been an Iron Man in the past. And, well, Tyus Jones had also been an Iron Man, and he had that ankle injury. He's about a week away at this point, maybe less than a week at this stage. Hopefully he'll come back by one of the Utah games. That would be nice at the end of the day. So with that, we'll take a quick break, and we'll preview the 3 games. And then, as usual, we will wrap up the show with fan interaction in segment number 3. Hey, Utah, we're coming for you. And Wayne, we're coming for your club, too. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment number 2. Going to preview 3 games, and I get to cheat again because it's back-to-back with Utah Jazz. Not back-to-back days, but we're playing the same team twice, home and home type of thing. So cool. I get to cheat a little bit. Get to talk about the Jazz, kind of a 2-for-1 sales. Nice and easy. And then get to talk about Wayno's club. Wayno. I should have said Wayno, but, So I hope you can forgive me for that. But, well, that's just how we're going to have to go with it at the moment. Ricky Rubio's healthy. Ricky Rubio is healthy, so that's good for him, I suppose. They are, the Utah Jazz anyway, 2.5 games ahead of the Timberwolves right now for 4th place in the Northwest standings, a better division than a lot of us may have thought. Portland Trailblazers 10 games above 500, 30-20, only 3 games behind the Nuggets. Oklahoma City's 2 games behind the Nuggets, 30-18, so 2 games in hand with their case. That's a hockey term, I suppose. And the Nuggets' recent loss to the Warriors, and unfortunately they're number 2 in the West, but I don't exactly like the Nuggets either, but I like everybody more than the Warriors right now. Donovan Mitchell definitely becoming a star in Utah, and a big reason why this club is legit. Ricky Rubio leading the club with 6 assists. Definitely lower than what you'd expect from him, but, well, it is what it is. The NBA is different than it was in the past, I suppose. Rubio's shooting a gaudy, huge 33% from three-point range. Okay, almost 34. Heck, Donovan Mitchell's only shooting 33%, but he relies more on his athleticism and his explosiveness. His field goal percentage, though, not that great, about 43%. Lots of attempts for the young man that don't always go in. Now, he's averaging over 19 attempts a game. That's a lot. That is a lot of field goal attempts. The number 2 guy on the club in field goal attempts is Ricky Bleepin' Rubio, which is really funny. Give the ball to Rudy Gobert, please. 64%. 64%, and he's, well, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. He's averaging about 4 attempts less than Rubio. Oh, boy, what has the league come to? It's okay to shoot threes, but, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. So if you're not making them, it's not always a pretty sight, is it? But, well, Yeah, this is a decent team. Obviously, you got that. Yeah, I mean, Rudy Gobert is one of the best defensive players in the league. He'll drive you crazy. He can get any rebound pretty much he wants. He's a 13. He's a 15 and 13 type of player. Multiple blocks a game, almost a steal a game. Donovan Mitchell also can kind of do it all. Great athleticism, great scoring ability. A bit erratic at times, but when he's hot, and it's a hell of a sight. Thabo Sefolosha is still around. He's still playing, but deep on the Utah bench. He's missed several games, but I'm sure some of them DNP coaches' decisions in that case. Unfortunately, you got to beat this team. If you're serious about making the playoffs, you got to beat this team. Unfortunately, the Timberwolves will not win in Utah. It's going to be a split at the end of the day for me. I think the Utah Jazz end up beating the Minnesota Timberwolves by something along the likes of... well, let's talk about how the Jazz have been playing also before I get into that. Utah's... Well, they've won 4 out of their last 5, so very good. A 6-point win over Detroit on the 14th, and they score 129 points in L.A. The Clippers have been reeling a bit. That's who the Wolves have to catch for that 8th seed, or the Lakers anyway. 20-point victory over the Clippers, 129-109 in Clipperland, in Staples Center. Cleveland Cavaliers have become the worst team in the league now. Phoenix has passed them in the standings, 115-99. They beat the Cavs. They lose to the Portland Trailblazers, then being the Utah Jazz by 5 at home. So good win for the Portland Trailblazers, not easily done. And they beat the Denver Nuggets, the Jazz did, in Salt Lake City, 114-108. Most recently, they will play Minnesota. They will have a 2-game win streak as far as I'm concerned. Unfortunately, Utah scores over 100 points every single game. They score over 100 points every single game. Definitely become a different club. I love their coach, Mr. Snyder. He obviously knows what he's doing. One of those underrated guys that people don't think about as much at the end of the day. Definitely a team, though, that can get the job done in an impressive fashion. Right place, right time. They embarrassed us last year in April, as we all know very well. I like their third jerseys, but I don't know. I'm confused now. Everybody's jerseys. It's like a different group of jerseys every year. It seems like the special third jerseys. But we'll see what Utah comes up with coming into this game. I like that baby blue color, though, you see floating around. Not that that's important. I do think the Jazz beat the Timberwolves, unfortunately. I think you're going to get a split here. But at least split. If you get a sweep, that would be freaking huge. But I just don't see it happening. The Jazz are playing significantly better, as they were a bit under 500 not that long ago. In fact, the Timberwolves were actually playing better than Utah for an extended period of time. But now they beat the Denver Nuggets recently, and they're getting better, definitely. I think the Utah Jazz win something along the likes of 116 to 108, something like that. It's going to be kind of like the Spurs game a bit, but I think Utah takes control of this one. Hopefully they don't get any more than 116. That's just the day and age of the NBA. You're going to see points like that all the time now. The days of 95, 92 are pretty rare. Occasionally you'll see that when you play a Detroit or somebody like that, but I don't know. It's just kind of how it is right now. 116, 108. Utah beats the Timberwolves. And then you come to Target Center on Sunday evening. I love these Sunday evening games. Just love them because a Sunday night would be boring without sports. And football is going away, obviously. There's the Pro Bowl. You got the NHL All-Star Game as things to watch in the afternoon. Some of us will watch bits and pieces of it. I think I'll watch bits and pieces of those, but not much. You know, I don't hate the Pro Bowl like a lot of you do out there. The NHL All-Star Game has really dropped off the face of the earth. They've gone mad. I think just play a regular 5-on-5 type of game, West versus East. Just go back to where it was. Like at least the NBA is still stuck with that and stayed away from some of the crazy, wacky stuff. Though the skills competitions for both sports are beautiful. The NBA and the NHL. as long as the commentators stay off the political rants, like last year, they opened up with that kind of conversation, the LeBron versus Laura Ingraham. I quickly clicked the TV off, and that was it. I was done. I made sure the channel was changed so they didn't get any type of Nielsen ratings with the TV off at the cable box. I'm not watching that. I'm sorry. I won't. I'm here to watch sports, not politics. Watch CNN, watch Fox if you want politics. So... Not that I needed to get into that conversation at the moment. Minnesota will win against the Utah Jazz on Sunday night. I don't know what got me there, but the All-Star Game talk, I suppose, and the skills competitions. But if they just stick to basketball, that'd be great. You know, I don't care. I just don't care. So At the end of the day, Minnesota Timberwolves get the job done over the Utah Jazz in this one. It's going to be really close, though. May come down to the last shot or two. A couple of free throws made. You'd think by Jeff Teague or something, but I don't think Jeff Teague's going to be shooting the free throws. It's probably going to be Wiggins or Bayless. And Wiggins, I don't know. Against the Jazz in Utah, I want to believe Karl Anthony Towns is going to have a good game. He's had some really good games against the Jazz in the past, and he's had some not good games against the Jazz. He does get up to play against Rudy Gobert most of the time. I think Karl will lead the team in scoring, but the Wolves don't win that one. In Minnesota, I think it's going to, again, be Karl Anthony Towns, but he's going to definitely need help to get the job done, to get the victory. Derrick Rose, is his knee going to be healthy? Are you going to get the offense from him? Luckily, you didn't need him against Phoenix or LA, as those were total blowouts, so thank God for that. You played against teams that were, well, in Phoenix's case, they just weren't good at all, and they're undermanned because there's no DeAndre Ayton. And then Lakers, a guy named LeBron James hasn't played since Christmas Day due to a groin injury, and now Lonzo Ball's out. Guy can't make free throws, but he can do a lot of other things, can Lonzo Ball. You're going to need over 20 points from Wiggins, 25 to 30, I think. And I expect Wiggins to have a couple of good games here against the Jazz. I think he's going to hang in there, 18 to 25 points in both of the games. I think he'll get around 18-ish on the road, but he'll get 25-ish at home. I expect him to get to the free throw line and make a few. He needs to. There's some days he does, but I think Karl's going to make over 10 free throws in the game, though, at home. I think he's going to get 33 points. 14, 15 rebounds, and Rudy Gobert is going to get his usual double-double. It'll be a bit of a back and forth. Karl Anthony Towns will get about 3 blocks in the game, and the Minnesota wins by a final score of 120 to 110. A nice, solid 10-point victory over the Utah Jazz at Target Center. It'll feel damn good for Minnesota. And if they lose both of these games, shame on us. Memphis Grizzlies come to town on Thursday, the 30th of January to wrap up the month. As the next show, we'll be talking about the month of February and eventually the All-Star break and all that, and the trade deadline. I don't have a whole lot to say about the upcoming trade deadline at the moment. We'll probably talk about that in the next show. Mike Conley finally back healthy again after missing pretty much the whole season last year after signing that gargantuan contract. Marshawn Brooks is back playing again. That's kind of cool. He had some really good moments last year for them, the Grizzlies, late in the season. I'm happy for Marshawn Brooks. He had his career about four or 5 years ago was completely going down the tubes, and I had a funny soundbite with him and with me and Marcus the Forecaster after we'd worshipped the guy. We wanted him on the Wolves so bad, and then it's like he just died as a player. It was weird. This is a weird matchup. I don't like it at all. Marc Gasol always frustrates and manhandles and irritates Karl Anthony Towns, and it always leads to disaster. Conley obviously is an all-star type of player, 20 points a game, 6 assists. He can hit threes. He's 35%, but there are nights the guy is just torching the net. This club is not playing well at all. Marc Gasol supposedly is on the trading block, which I'd be okay with, so he can maybe beat Memphis once in a while. They've lost several games in a row. They've lost all 5 of their last 5 anyway. Not surprisingly to the Bucks, Boston, and Toronto. That's a pretty harsh schedule. Jeez. They're only the 3 best teams in the Eastern Conference outside of Philly, that's all. Jeez. 111, 101, 116, 122, 116. That's a pretty good game, actually, in Boston. And they get absolutely destroyed by Toronto by 30 on the 19th in Toronto. So that didn't go all so well for Memphis. They're not playing well at all. They're actually below all of us right now. They've lost 7 games consecutively. Phoenix had lost 6 in a row after having a little run there. Good, solid week for Minnesota, by the way. 105-85, 20-point loss at home versus the Pelicans. Ouch. And then Charlotte, 118-107, beats up on the Memphis Grizzlies. Well, is Memphis going to end their streak? Hopefully not. They will play the Sacramento Kings, Indiana Pacers, Denver Nuggets before they play the Minnesota Timberwolves. I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe beat Sacramento. Sacramento's got a lot of skill. I don't think Indiana and Denver, I don't think Memphis will end it against either of them, but you never know. They're all home games. All of them home games. What a long homestand. Then they come to Minneapolis on the 30th, only to play Charlotte on the 1st. You got to win this game. The Minnesota Timberwolves need to go 2-1 in this stretch. You're going to get a first-round pick one way or another. It's not like you're not going to get a first-round pick. And I don't know. I'd rather, not be in the lottery, because if you're going to get the 14th pick or something anyway, who cares? It doesn't make any difference. 14th, 15th, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could make a difference sometimes, but sometimes that's just luck. Marc Gasol again. He's not averaging a double-double or anything, but he'll probably be a headache for the Timberwolves again. And again, this is a must-win game. This is a game where Karl Anthony Towns needs to finally say enough is enough. I'm tired of this guy owning me. I'm going to do something about it. I do think he's going to struggle, though, and you're going to have to rely on guard play. And, of course, Andrew Wiggins is going to have to step up big time for the Wolves to win this game. 25-30 from Andrew Wiggins. You're going to need some type of explosive game from Derrick Rose, hoping and praying that his knee is not holding him back too much, his knees, his ankles, this and that, which could be really holding back his minutes, his soreness. You hope and pray. I wouldn't be surprised if it's an ankle, too, because I know that was going on not too long ago. You hope and pray that Mr. Derrick Rose can perform in this one. The Wolves are going to need some play from the backcourt in this game, the perimeter and such. And, of course, Andrew Wiggins is going to have a good, solid game for Minnesota to win. I'm stepping on in good faith that this will happen and that Karl will get enough in this game, that he will finally overcome Marc Gasol a bit. He'll outplay him slightly and lead the Minnesota Timberwolves to a rare victory over Memphis. It does happen, but it's usually when Marc Gasol's out, unfortunately, or he just has a horrible game or something. But Minnesota's going to find a way to win this thing. Memphis is not what they were. The chemistry's rotten there right now, unfortunately, after a really strong start to the season. The Memphis Grizzlies will not beat the Timberwolves at Target Center. Minnesota goes 2-1, and we're looking at a final score, something along the likes 114, 115, something like that. Minnesota's going to get like that, and Memphis will get 100. Memphis will score only 100 points in the game. Minnesota's going to have a solid victory over the Grizzlies. No, I think it's going to be closer. 109. 114, 109. Minnesota survives, makes a few free throws, and wraps it up. Jared Bayless goes against his former club. One of many former clubs for Jared Bayless and the Wolves. I think Jared Bayless is going to get double-digit points in the game as well. He's probably going to get minutes, and he'll have a good, solid game against one of his many former clubs. With that, we'll take a break and get to fan interaction right after this. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment number 3, fan interaction segment, and wrap things up. At Wolves Explosion is the Twitter account. I want to thank Mr. Vince Germano for retweeting the most recent show, and Levi Brown. Thank you guys very much. Vince Germano out of Melbourne, Australia, and Levi Brown out of New Zealand. Thanks again, guys, for that. Really appreciate it. Snarky McSnargleson also liked the tweet, so thank you very much for retweeting liked the tweet of the most recent show. So, was there any other comments? Yeah, there's a couple comments here and there. Unfortunately, there's so much other stuff where there are highlights. Vince Germano liked my tweet where I said I didn't like the shot itself, but I'll take it. And that was, of course, Derrick Rose's shot over the Phoenix Suns anyway, as did Levi Brown. He liked that tweet as well. What's going on? Now, none of these are actually to me, except for those a couple of likes. I think there's something else up here, though. I wish I could clean this up a bit. This is kind of a mess. And that is it in the Twitter area. Going to give a shout-out to Flip's Army Facebook page, giving them a shout-out. Trevor Wickerin, the founder of that page. Thank you again so much for allowing me to post tweets of the most recent episode, allowing me to share that on there. Thanks again very much, Trevor Wickerin. They have in-game threads and any kind of Timberwolves news, other NBA talk, I suppose. Please do join that if you could, and thank you to those of you that have. And thanks again, Trevor Wickerin, for allowing me to post about Timberwolves Explosion on there on occasion when the show is released. So let's get to the Facebook page, facebook.com/Timberwolves Explosion, facebook.com/Timberwolves Explosion. There's a comment on the most recent episode. Nicholas Simon, also out of Australia. Haven't heard from him in a little while. Love you, Nicholas. He says, gonna listen shortly. I expect screaming. And yep. Yeah, I mean, I didn't scream, but I was pretty upset, of course, after that awful Philadelphia 76ers games. So that's the end of the comments on my post. But luckily, there are a couple of visitor posts. And one of them, Tanae Brown out of New Zealand. The other, Wayne Hunt. Wayne Rainhunt out of Sydney, Australia, to talk about the most, Wayne Hunt, to talk about Andrew Wiggins here. He says, why does Wiggins continue to play like a second-string player? Has one good game and then it's mediocre for the next 6. Give me a spell. How about playing up to your paycheck, Andrew? Zing! Great game winner from D. Rose today. But shouldn't that be Wiggins demanding the final shot? Trade him now for Beal or something? Maybe. No, I don't know. I don't know if they can trade him. I don't know where to go with this. Right now, I don't get the feeling like they're in any hurry to trade him. But I'm not as down on him as you are. But at the same time, I can understand anybody that's extremely frustrated at this moment because he's got a bit of Terrell Brandonitis. He's got Terrell Brandonitis, without a doubt, where Terrell will have a good game or two, and then it's back to old smiley. It's old smiley face, where you don't get a whole lot out of the guy. He just smiles and chuckles about stuff, and, well, he's 7 of 17. And the next thing you know, he's the silent assassin again. You hope and pray you can get more of that silent assassin. You saw aggressiveness from him against the Lakers. One thing you got to say, he does take a lot of shot attempts, but some of them are not good, or they just simply don't go in, basically. So as for trading him, I'm not in a huge rush to do that, but at the same time, I feel you. I feel your argument in a big way there. Tonight Brown, talking about Derrick Rose, to wrap up this segment and the show, says a lone wolf performance from the Windy City Assassin. There you go. So I thought I'd share a Christmas present I got myself this year. It's a nice painting. A friend of mine painted this for me after Derrick Rose had his 50-point game. That game quickly became one of my favorite Timberwolves moments. All the wavy lines are to give off the impression that he was on fire. And in the second quarter today, he was definitely... Oh, I think you mean second half. Yep, second half today. Yep, he was definitely feeling the heat. Let's go Wolves. Yep, the 29-point performance. And that's cool. He was wearing the retro jersey there at that moment. I believe, yes, the Wolves were wearing those when Derrick Rose had 50 points. The Garnett-era jerseys, which were every year except Garnett's first season, when the Timberwolves were still wearing their original uniforms, when Isaiah Ryder was still on board and Christian Laettner for a brief time before he was traded for Spud Webb and Andrew Lang to the Atlanta Hawks and all that. It's very nice painting, and yes, I can see the fire. I can see the flames coming out of Mr. Derrick Rose, and he definitely was feeling the heat, and he was playing against the Phoenix Suns as well, so a team that represents heat per se. They've made a lot of threes over the decades and all that. They were one of the original teams that was a run and gun style over the years. Not sure what the hell they are now, but well, they can make threes. But Derrick Rose, again, the reciprocal got the job done in a big way. It was the reciprocal game where Karl had 28 points in the first half, 2 points in the second, and then Mr. Derrick Rose and Karl Anthony Towns flip-flopped. They did their reciprocal. Derrick, 2 points in the first half, 29 in the second. Good for 31. Beautiful performance, and it was definitely an Alpha Wolf game, but I gave the overall Alpha Wolf to Mr. Karl Anthony Towns. Please don't get me wrong when I was talking about his shot selection. Derrick Rose is awesome, and he's a wonderful player for this team. He's had a wonderful renaissance, and I think he deserves to make the All-Star team with Karl Anthony Towns. Him and Karl have been the two best players on this team this year. Again, just the shot selection gets to me a little bit sometimes, particularly there's a little bit of Jimmy Butler going on, but hey, Jimmy was a great player too. Just his attitude sucked, where Derrick Rose has, he's a much more of a team player, much better attitude. He's a natural, and he deserves it. Jimmy Butler has never won an MVP award. He never will. Derrick Rose has won, and it'll always be his. No one could take that away from him, ever. So, beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. That's really cool. Very, 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 very nice painting by your buddy there. Give him a shout-out. Give him a shout-out for sure. Thanks again. So with that, I'm going to pass out the contact details. Encourage you also to please rate the show positively on iTunes if you could. iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Podcasts would be greatly appreciated. Tell your friends about the show if you could. Write a positive rating on there. And, it only helps the show, and I will give you a huge shout-out and a thank you on air when I do see that. It's been a while, unfortunately, so please, it's getting lonely and stupid on there, so please give a little lifeblood to this show if you could on iTunes, Stitcher, or Double Twist. So, again, the Twitter account, the Facebook page, now the phone lines, 209-736-7877, 209-736-7877. It is a voicemail. Do treat it as such. Mention you're calling in for Timberwolves Explosion and opine, statement, shout-out, comment, question. It's a 3-minute limit. It'll cut you off, so be careful. Be careful. It will automatically cut you off. Same thing if you click on the Call Now button on the Facebook page. It goes straight through Facebook Messenger to that phone line, and you will then, and it probably might go through your phone too, so be careful. But I believe it does go through Facebook Messenger if you have Facebook Messenger. As long as you're online, it should be free. But I highly recommend the audio submission route. The audio submission route is the best way to go. Use any free voice recording application on any smart device on the planet, or you could use a recording/editing software on your laptop or desktop with a microphone. That's all fair game as well. Save it and send it to paladinolive@yahoo.com. paladinolive@yahoo.com. I will then convert it into an MP3 file thanks to Zamzar.com or Converto.com. It's greatly, greatly appreciated, and I'm more than happy to give them a free plug because they give me a free service. And without them, I couldn't really take audio submissions or call-ins. So thanks again so very much to both of those websites. God bless all of you. Again, please tell your friends or write a positive rating on iTunes, Stitcher, or Double Twist. We'll talk to you in a week, and hopefully the Timberwolves continue their drive to the postseason.